Table Tribe. My name's Katie, and I'm one of the pastors here at the table. And we just have a few announcements before you begin the video. We would love to do what we do every week and have communion together. So whatever that means for you, go ahead and grab something out of your pantry or your fridge and join us in communion at the end of service today. And we cannot do what we do every week without you and your gifts and your generosity. And we're so thankful for you. And you can give online, you can text to give, or you can drop it in the mail. Your gifts are greatly appreciated, and we are, again, so thankful. And we are able to do what we do because of you. So thanks. To stay connected with us during this time, we would love for you to follow us on Instagram and Facebook and just stay in the loop. And if you're looking for a deeper connection and you are missing out on things, feel free to email us at info@thetablejoliet.org and we'll be able to connect with you that way. Speaking of Facebook and Instagram, we would love to see what you guys are doing to stay busy in this quarantine time. So please feel free in the comments to drop a video of you and your family outside or doing a house project or cleaning. We would love to see it. We've already sent you all of our videos, but we would love to see what you guys are doing to stay busy.
During the quarantine, a lot of artists and musicians have been sharing their talents on the internet to bring people some joy. So I thought I'd share my talents on the drums and play a hymn for my church friends. This is Amazing Grace. 1, 2, 3. I hope you enjoyed Amazing Grace.
Well, good morning, Table Tribe. So good to see you. Thanks for joining us online and for taking time out of your day to be with us. I know you're hanging out with family and friends and probably sitting in your living room watching this morning. And so I just want to ask you right up front to pause this video. I promise I won't go anywhere if you pause it. And I would love for you to go to whatever platform you're watching this on, whether it's on Facebook or whether it's on YouTube or whether it's right here within this email. But I would love for you to go ahead and just like it and share it. Share it with somebody that you know would love to have a message of hope given to them. Our mission is to guide you into a forward-moving relationship with Jesus, but we also want this to be a time and an opportunity where we can offer people hope in a season of uncertainty. And so this morning, I'd just love for you to go ahead and share it with somebody else. In fact, I love it. This week, somebody messaged me and they said, hey, I didn't get the message in the email. I didn't get the message. I didn't see it on Facebook. And they just said, where do I find it? And so I sent them the direct link to our YouTube channel. And later, I got a message from this sweet lady saying, I shared this message with my friends in Tennessee, and we're watching it together, and now we're talking about the discussion questions. And so I would just ask you to do the same, and it could be really powerful because life is definitely better together. And so this morning, we're continuing the second part of our series in week 2 of Going Viral, and I've entitled this talk, Don't Forget. In fact, it reminded me of the time, well, it's multiple times in my marriage, Janelle and I have just come to this understanding that our role is divvied up and I am responsible for the kitchen. Janelle hates dishes and she hates, cleaning the kitchen and everything that goes along with it. And so I don't mind it, and I've decided, hey, that's what I'll do. That's my burden I'm going to bear. And we've just decided that her role will be the laundry, which I think I got the better end of the deal. I mean, if you've got kids, then you've had your kids wear 3 outfits in less than 3 hours. And so she's endlessly folding laundry, and I feel terrible for her. But on occasion, she will look at me and she will say, can you do me a favor? And you never know what somebody's going to say when they ask you that. But she says, could you just remember, I'm going to bed, or she's going off to work, and she'll say, if you could just remember to change over the laundry, that would be a huge help to me. And of course, I'm like, yeah, sure, I'd love to help you with the laundry. Why wouldn't I? But it turns out, an hour later, I've fallen asleep on the couch, or I've gotten busy doing something else, and I, unfortunately just tend to forget. I just forget to switch over the laundry. And it's not until I go into the laundry room the next morning, or the bathroom the next morning, and there's this funky smell. And by the way, if I ever smell funky, you'll just know that I forgot to change over the laundry. But it's this funky smell that comes. I'm like, where in the world is that coming from? And sure enough, it's because I didn't change the laundry over. And so you've probably done this before too, when you forget, right? You quickly put it in the dryer, or you rewash it in hopes that, before they get home, that they won't notice that you've forgotten to do the laundry. And so, but there have been so many times where Janelle comes home and she just looks at me and she says, you forgot, didn't you? And it's where I have to confess and come clean. Yes, I forgot. I forgot to change the laundry. I forgot to turn it over. And I think this is a problem for a lot of us. So what about you? What do you tend to forget? Maybe you've forgotten to pick up your parents at the airport. Maybe you've forgotten an assignment that was due for class. Maybe you've forgotten an important meeting with somebody. Or maybe you've, even worse, forgotten your anniversary, or you've forgotten somebody's birthday. I mean, we've all forgotten things that were really important. And so I want to take time to do what we do every single week at the table, and I just want to talk about what we tend to forget the most during these days. So you know how it works. You can talk to somebody next to you, talk to a family member. You can text this message out to somebody, or this question out to somebody, or you can just journal and write about it. But I want to know, what are you forgetting most these days? And I also want to know, why do you think it's so hard to remember? Why is it so hard for us to remember? Talk about that for just a minute, and then we're going to come back and we're going to dive in this morning. So as we dive into this time again, thinking about what we're forgetting these days, which we all tend to do that at some point in our lives, I think our struggle with forgetfulness is really about what we choose to remember. And in fact, it's interesting, researchers have found that we tend to remember things that are more negative than we do positive experiences. In fact, they found that you can more accurately describe events that have happened that are negative than those that are positive, which makes me wonder, why is it that when we choose to remember something, we choose to pick what is bad, or we choose what is negative in our lives, and we kind of hang on to it, and we kind of hold on to it? This is not something that's new to us. This is something that people throughout history has struggled with. And as we said last week, and we continue to say every week, history has a way of helping us see the way forward. And so this morning, I want to share with you this psalm that I came across last week when I was studying, and it was just so powerful, and it met me right where I was in that moment. And it's from Psalm 78, and this is what the psalmist says. They forgot what he had done. They, meaning the Israelites, had forgotten what he, God, had done. He'd forgotten the wonders that he'd shown them So he did miracles in the sight of their ancestors in the land of Egypt, in the region of Zon. He divided the sea and led them through. He made the water stand up like a wall. He guided them with the cloud by day and with the light from the fire all night. He split the rocks in the wilderness and gave them water as abundant as the seas. He brought streams out of a rocky crag and made water flow down like rivers, but they continued to sin against him, rebelling in the wilderness against the Most High. They willfully put God to the test by demanding the food they craved. And this is so key and this is so important. And I think this is the gravest sin of all. It says, they spoke against God and they said, can God really spread a table in the wilderness? So when I think about these words from the psalmist, I think it is easy for us to soak in a bleak future while forgetting where God has taken us. In fact, it's a lot easier to forget than it is to remember. And when I look at the news and I look at the social media and I think about conversations that we have with people or maybe people that we're interacting with, a lot of it isn't positive. A lot of it is remembering the bad things that are taking place. In fact, I think a lot of us, when it comes to our faith during this time, begin to wonder, where is God in the middle of this? Where is God when people are getting sick? And how in the world is God going to provide? I mean, I get it, right? Maybe you've just lost your job. Maybe your loved one has just gotten sick. Maybe you are spending all of your savings. Maybe you have no clue where your next dollar is coming from, and it's scary. And I think a lot of times our approach to God or our posture to God is, can our God really spread a table in the wilderness? See, I think it's so easy to focus on the negative and forget where God has taken us. In fact, I'm not exempt from this. You remember from last week's video, I was talking with you about all of my fears and all of my worries when it comes to the table. And then when I came across this Psalm 78, I love what he has to say in verse 4. Because there is a cure for our forgetfulness. And here's what the psalmist says. He says, we will tell the next generation. Love that. We will tell the next generation the praiseworthy deeds of our Lord, his power, and the wonders he has done. So Table Tribe, as we end our time together, I want you to know that it is our role during this time to remember. And remembering is about telling. See, our medicine is about telling about the miracles that God has performed in our lives and in our families' lives. And I truly think that if we forget what God has done in our lives, we won't be able to see the future ahead of us. And so I'm just challenging you, and I'm challenging myself. When I think about the future of the table, when you think about your future, maybe financially, or when it comes to your health, or how you're taking care of your family, or maybe where God is calling you, the best way to see the future is by remembering the miracles that God has performed in your lives. And I truly believe that our God can spread a table in the midst of wilderness. In fact, I like to think about it this way, that our God is preparing a feast in the aftermath. And so this morning, I want you to take some time with your family, and I just want you to spend the next few minutes with friends and family talking about and acknowledging what are the miracles that God has done in your life. And don't forget to tell that story. As we end our time together, we promised you, as Katie said at the very beginning, that we would end our time around the table. And this is something we do every week, and we believe it's so important as we respond to God's message. And so you would think around here that I'd be able to find some communion wafers and some juice or something like that, but All I could find was Lay's potato chips and some Welch's grape juice that I'm fairly certain is no longer good, but we're gonna give it a go. So anyway, I just want you to remember, definitely remember this week that God gave his life for you, he died for you, and he resurrected for you. And ultimately, the greatest hope that we have is in Jesus Christ. And so if you would with me, would you take the body and would you take the juice and would you eat and drink with me as we share in the table of God's grace this morning? Friends, would you say this prayer with me as we end our time together? Remember, the table is for you, but it's also about the people that aren't here. And so we pray this: Lord, bring somebody across my path who needs to know you. Give me the eyes to see them, the ears to listen to them, the arms to embrace them, and the heart to love them well.